Welcome back to Ancient Presence. Today, we're taking you with us on our spontaneous adventure to the destroyed pyramid of Abu Rawash, known as the Pyramid of Djedefre. Before we get into that, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel so you can continue to join us on our explorations of the ancient world. We didn't know much about this ruinous site until after we had arrived in Egypt, but it seemed so intriguing we felt we couldn't miss it. So after a full sweaty day in the sun exploring the pyramids at Giza, we decided to head over to Abu Rawash in the late afternoon to check it out. The site is 8 kilometers northwest of Giza, built high up on a hill. We ordered an Uber driver to take us to the site out in the desert, not really knowing where we were going and just steering the driver up some random dirt roads, following our GPS until we finally set out on foot and walked to the top of the hill to find the pyramid. It wasn't until many days later, though, that we learned that we weren't even allowed to be there, that the site is actually under renovation and is not open to the public. In order to visit, you are supposed to obtain special government permission and need to go there with a licensed guide. We made an honest mistake, though, and just showed up on our own, but we do not recommend that you do this.
Out of the 100 or so pyramids in Egypt, what makes this one so fascinating is that most of the pyramid is missing and has been basically destroyed. This makes it very hard to piece the puzzle back together and figure out what this monument originally was, who built it, and when it was constructed. Unfortunately, other than these remaining 10 or 15 courses of stone blocks, what we see today is an almost completely ruined structure that has been aggressively demolished for thousands of years. It was used as a stone quarrying site since at least the Roman times, when they had a military base here and largely deconstructed this pyramid to make their own buildings. Quarrying continued throughout the ages and even well into the 19th century, when stone blocks were being chopped up and transported away at a rate of 300 camel loads per day to bring new construction material to build Cairo. Due to this immense amount of devastation that the site has endured for so long, we're now left with ruins that make us wonder about the true origins of this so-called lost pyramid.
There are a handful of different theories that propose that it wasn't even a pyramid, but it could have been an open-air solar temple, an astronomical observatory, or a water storage technology. But there's definitely no clear consensus about what this structure originally was, so who knows? It's basically guesswork. Many believe that it was a finished pyramid because of the massive heaps of granite found at this site that may have been casing stones. If it was a fully built pyramid, some people think that it could have been the most stunning of them all, entirely cased in beautiful red granite, and would have been about the same size as the Pyramid of Menkaure, the smallest of the 3 at Giza. Some people say that it exploded during an ancient cataclysm. Others think that this monument was never completed because there are many rough granite casing stones laying around that were never finished being cut, which implies that the construction was halted and the monument was perhaps only halfway built. What do you think? Was it a pyramid, an open-air platform, or something else entirely? Leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts.
Academics attribute this building to the pharaoh Djedefre of the 4th dynasty. But this claim is based on a very small amount of evidence, including some statues of Djedefre and his children, an alabaster bowl inscribed with the name of his father Khufu, and a diorite statue thought to have been Menkaure, which would suggest that the families of the 4th dynasty kings were the builders of this site. We have discussed in previous videos, though, how we feel that inscriptions like these are not solid enough evidence to confidently conclude that we know for sure who built monuments like this one. We question whether or not these earliest pyramids were even built by the dynastic Egyptians at all, or whether they originate from a much more ancient time period. The inscribed names and statues at these sites could have been placed there in a much later era. Was it indeed built by the 4th dynasty pharaoh Djedefre, who is believed to have reigned as pharaoh for only 8 years? If so, how could he have possibly constructed such a gigantic monument in such a short period of time?
This structure contained a greater quantity of red granite than any pyramid in Egypt, which is incredible when we consider that it was all imported from the quarry in Aswan, more than 500 miles away. Gigantic blocks were transported down the Nile to northern Egypt and then hauled all the way to the top of this hill to be used as casing stones in this pyramid. This is really impressive. Before construction, the ancient builders first carved and flattened a huge platform on which to build this monument, and then bored out this massive underground chamber over 20 meters deep down into the solid limestone bedrock. Descending down the ramp into the chamber is a bit sketchy, as there is rubble laying everywhere and the incline is very steep. We almost slid several times on our way down. Its walls and floor were once lined with large limestone and granite blocks, which created a smaller inner corridor and central chamber than what we see today in this bare, ruinous cavern. Now, it lays in a state of complete destruction, everything broken and dismantled, showing signs of damage everywhere you look. And almost all the limestone blocks that once made up this internal structure were quarried away long ago.
There may have originally been several inner chambers, and they possibly had gabled ceilings, like in a few of the other pyramids. A clue that supports the theory that this was not a pyramid at all, though, but rather an open-air platform structure, is that there are other, almost identical ramp and chamber style monuments found in Egypt, the most famous being the one at Zawiyat el-Aryan. Excavations of this mysterious site in the early 1900s led to the discovery of an enigmatic oval-shaped granite coffer with perfectly polished inner walls found at the bottom of this chamber embedded into the floor stones. It was still sealed, and instead of finding a pharaoh inside, the archaeologists found 10 centimeters of some sort of black residue in the bottom of the coffer. During excavations at Abu Rawash, the famous archaeologist Flinders Petrie found a broken fragment of what appeared to him to be another oval-shaped granite coffer. Pyramids are said to have been tombs for pharaohs, but if there were no bodies inside, then what was the purpose of these monuments? Zawiyat el-Aryan holds clues to the origins of Abu Rawash, but unfortunately, since the 1960s, it has been literally filled in with garbage and hidden away on a restricted military base, completely off-limits to visitors. It is very sad that such a precious site of great antiquity is now lost to us, and we are left wondering what keys are buried there that would help us better understand the original purpose of these great monuments.
Once we climbed out from the depths of this mysterious, destroyed inner pit, we explored the site surrounding the structure. We spent most of our time on the east side, at the small temples and the giant gouge that Egyptologists refer to as the Funerary Boat Pit, even though a boat was never found in there. The purpose of this pit is unknown, although there are some pretty wild theories out there, including it being a fixture for a giant, ancient machine saw. One of the biggest mysteries of this site is the amazingly well-made granite slab that is currently sitting on the east side of the pyramid. We have never heard any info about who put it there or where it came from, so if you know anything about it, let us know in the comments. This stone displays a unique and incredible surface with two concaves carved into the stone from different directions. Here, you can clearly see the interesting tool marks and evenly spaced striations that some engineers believe would require powered mechanical machine saws. Based on his meticulous measurements of this stone, Christopher Dunn has a theory that a giant saw with a 37-foot wide circular blade was used in order to achieve this perfectly curved shape into the stone. This sounds pretty far out to us, and we're still not quite sure what to think about it. We have so many questions about this place. Was it really a pyramid? Who built it, and how old is it? Was it destroyed in an ancient cataclysm? And what was its purpose in the first place? We hope someday we'll find the answers to these questions.
This site, that emanates mystery from all angles, is an absolutely fascinating place to visit. We were filled with wonder and curiosity as to the origins of this ancient enigma, and we're very happy we were fortunate enough to get to see it. Just as a reminder though, if you ever want to visit Abu Rawash, we ask that you do not go alone like we did, that you go with a tour guide and get the proper permissions to avoid getting into any trouble. After we watched the sunset from what is known as the Lost Pyramid on top of this amazing viewpoint, we walked down the long dirt road through the desert on our way back to civilization. The darkness fell as we reached the big fast highway where we waved down a passing taxi that took us back to Cairo in the dark. This was definitely a fun and spontaneous adventure for us, and we hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to subscribe to our channel so you can keep following our adventures, and we'll continue showing you the coolest stuff in Egypt. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Ancient Presence.